What's up, guys? Our Wrestling Podcast back at you with another episode. This is Dave Vicious, along with Jess Total Package and Craig the British Bulldog, bringing you our perspective on the world of professional wrestling. No inside sources, no ties to the industry, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions with you. Today's topic: Forgotten Factions 4. For audio fans, give us a listen on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, and iHeartRadio. Or watch our videos on YouTube at Our Wrestling Channel, and check out exclusive content on Daily Motion at Our Wrestling Podcast. And on social media, can you give us a follow on Instagram at O.W.P 2019 or on Facebook at Our Wrestling Podcast? Factions is getting quite deep, and there's a lot of good ones out there that people tend to forget about, Jess.
I think I'm subconsciously trying to catch all the other ones up to catch up to Wrestling Gets Real, and I know that's not fair. Then you let it do it organically. I'm like, what else are we? What number? Are
You can't help the fact that Wrestling Gets Real is one of the most popular faces we've ever done, and there's so much good content there. So, you know, it's all over. I think I saw a few new things with some of the possible new bloodline coming through this week.
I don't know.
Someone beating the crap.
I don't know what the fuck the audience wants. You know, I'm just trying to make topics where they can talk about things. Oh, Forgotten Factions, bam. Instead of everything, they're like, no to this.
Why would they say no?
No. Because they're assholes.
No.
They're cagsuckers.
Wow. All right. Well, at that point, and Craig, unless you have something to add, we can just, jump right in. But what do you got, buddy?
Nothing to say after I unabashedly attack our audience.
Yeah, that's tough to follow.
We just don't have a good relationship.
Whoa. That's not true.
I think they're stupid.
All right. Well, then we're just going to jump right into it. We got the Job Squad in the WWF, the J.O.B. They were a professional wrestling stable in WWF in the late 1990s. In November of 98, Al Snow, Bob Holly, and Scorpio united and formed the Job Squad. And they gained a new member in Dwayne Gill, who then scored an upset over Christian by winning the Light Heavyweight Championship. He was later renamed Gilberg. Can't forget about that. The theme of this group was each member was a perennial enhancement talent, otherwise known as jobbers. We called them prelims, I think, in which they lost to established or up and coming wrestlers. The acronym JOB to stand for just over broke, a reference to wrestlers' penchant for appearing in preliminary matches and therefore being on the low end of the pay scale. Does this even exist anymore in the WWE? I don't think it really does.
No, because everybody has contracts and stuff. So, yeah, it's like before Vince would pay you per performance or whatever. And, yeah, if you were on the lower end of the card or you didn't draw or a big portion, if you just enjoyed a downside and that's it, like I think I think Job also leaned towards the people that just jobbed out all the time. Like Al Snow was big in ECW, and he was really over. But then when he came to WWE, like Vince didn't see too much out of him, so he always lost. Like, and then they even gave him the gimmick that he kind of had with Head and all that stuff from ECW.
Right.
And like he still didn't get hugely over. But I remember the Job Squad. It was a Russo idea, if I'm not mistaken. Because he's like, well, if they're gonna job you out, then he's like, why don't we just start a faction called the Job Squad? So they did it. Like it's just kind of something I remember from the Wrestling Wars and everything because they were on television every single week and had a decent segment all the time. So they had TV time every week for a bit. And I remember the Job Squad. I remember the shirts too.
And the guys there thought it was great, and they kept insisting. They're like, "Oh, you got to make t-shirts. You've got to make t-shirts." So I wanted to be the antithesis of what was the most popular thing at that time that was getting pushed the most, which was the NWO. So I made the very opposite of what you would think would sell, a white t-shirt, and then made the Job Squad logo similar to the NWO, and then put 1, 2, 3 for life on the front, and on the back, pin me, pay me with a chalk outline.
Yeah.
And and it went crazy.
Anything in particular, Craig, you want to add to the
No, it was a very
jobbers?
cool thing. It was the very behind the scenes, job. We got it. Like it was it's one of the big moments of like breaking kayfabe and like we got what it was. And it kind of worked for what it was. Like wish it could have been bigger, but
I feel like Al Snow is one of the original guys that tried to grab the brass ring, but it doesn't exist. If Vince likes you, he likes you. If he doesn't, he doesn't. If he never sees a star in you, like he's rarely ever going to give a shit. And like, I think Al Snow was one of those guys that like just put shit over all the time. It didn't matter what they gave him. He just ran with it. And I mean, I know he was a trainer for a long time. He did the tough enough shit and all that stuff. So and people gained respect for him there.
He's still doing the OVW stuff too.
And maybe it was the Job Squad stuff and all of that, that his willingness to do whatever, like actually Vince does like you. Because what we always forget too is like, just because you're not a main event guy doesn't mean they don't have great careers. Yes, we were all disappointed in Dolph Ziggler and, you know, not him as an athlete, but the way they pushed him and they never put the rocket on him or whatever. And we're always like, God, what a shame. And I'm like, was it though? He was employed for like 80 years. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
he had a great job, like, you know, and no, he didn't realize the potential that we saw in him. Al Snow didn't either back here, and you know, maybe Bob Holly to a certain extent. You know, but it's like they all had really good careers though. Holly was there for a while. Snow was there for a long time behind the scenes as a trainer. He was the host on Tough Enough, or he's one of the trainers on Tough Enough. Like, so it's like, I don't know. He had an amazing career. We always look back at, oh man, he just never got above mid-card status. But I don't know. I don't think like
not many do.
Some people only see, like, some wrestling fans are just tunnel vision, and they think the way they're portrayed on the screen, like Steve Lombardi, like Brooklyn Brawler, same thing. Like, people just think, oh, if he's a jobber on TV, he must be made fun of in the back, and people don't respect him. I'm like, actually, no. Like, there's a lot of professional jobbers that, you know, had great careers.
If you were gonna be pushed through the machine at WWE, one of the first people they put you through is the Brooklyn Brawler to make sure you can go.
Yeah, so it's just kind of, it's like Craig said, we got it. We got the wink and the, you know, the tongue in cheekness of it all. So it's kind of, I fondly remember this little faction because it was just fun. Like, it was just like, all right, like, I get it. But people may have forgotten it. That's why.
That's why. Yeah,
and they may have forgotten it 4 times. I don't know.
I feel like this one I didn't even know about it to be able to forget it. But let's jump right in. The Legion of Doom, which we all know the Legion of Doom in WWF at the time, but there was a Legion of Doom in Georgia Championship Wrestling that did consist of Precious Paul Ellering forming a stable of the Legion of Doom, which was it was NWA's Georgia Championship Wrestling, which was the Road Warriors, Jake the Snake Roberts, and King Kong Bundy, and the Spoiler. I have no idea who the Spoiler even is.
Didn't he wear a mask? I think he wore a mask.
No fucking clue. I have no idea what you're
I've heard
about.
of the Spoiler. I can't remember. I think he's a masked wrestler. I think.
But this is incredible that Bundy, Jake the Snake, and the Road Warriors were a part of a faction.
And the Spoiler.
At one point. Yeah, well, don't forget the Spoiler.
Dude, what? This dude keeps disrespecting the Spoiler.
What a dick. God. But and all of those, with the exception of the Spoiler, would go on to have some decent careers in WWF later. But the stable was short-lived, and the name Legion of Doom was soon referred only to the Road Warriors and Ellering, either used interchangeably throughout their career. But I also thought, Jess, that they were called the Legion of Doom because the Road Warriors had some issues with their naming based upon who owned it in other federations. I thought they were referred to as the Legion of Doom later in WWF.
No, they were only referred to as they were called the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors, even in Crockett, but they're always the Road Warriors. Vince just wanted to call them Legion of Doom and do the LOD thing because he didn't own the Road Warriors. So, but which is hilarious because the Road Warriors name is from a movie, and I don't know when the movie came out versus when they became a tag team. I think they took it from the movie. I'm almost positive. And then the Legion of Doom is Justice League. So, like, it's so funny how Vince tolerated either one. Like, Vince,
because he didn't know about the other one.
We can't do Road Warriors, but we'll do Legion of Doom, which is a popular comic, like, you know, like
the
group.
Super Friends, right? It's in your
Super
notes.
Friends. So it's really weird.
It was a Super Friends cartoon,
Yeah.
but Vince had no idea what the Super Friends fucking was. So he's like, "That's fine." He's just.
You know, Gordon Solian author once said, put out an ad and you better be ready for takers. Well, the Legion of Doom signs every contract. Beware, enter at your own risk. Do we have any takers, Hawk?
No takers with any brains, that's for sure. The hands of the warriors. Ah, yes, the hands of the warriors are covered with the blood of 1,000 victories. Because it's the only thing we know how to do is win at any cost.
My boys are so good, Gordon. When they're good, they're very good. Jake, you're the best.
The king of cable, right here. States it right here on the front. It says world champion, TV champion. Isn't that nice, Gordon? You've seen me out here with this every week for the last few months, and it's not going to change.
And that maybe that wasn't copyrighted, like Legion of Doom. I can't refuse to believe that. But then Vince is like,
it
is
the
now.
80s. It's the 80s and nobody paid attention. It was wrestling. And now.
But yeah, like the
wrestling
Legion of
being as
Doom
over as
came
it is-
from.
right.
A lot of people just thought it came from nowhere. But if you go back and pay attention, even when they were in AWA and NWA, often they were introduced as the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors. That's how they were announced with just Paul Ellering for a long time. And then when they went to WWF, we thought Vince just took the first half of their title and did it. But no, they were a faction.
Get into the next one. This one I don't remember. It is forgotten. Cosmic Wasteland in the WWE.
I was clueless.
I barely remembered this when I did the research for this. I was just like, that's right. It was just stored away in the back of my mind for no reason. And it's like that, that gadget that every dad keeps.
We're not going back that far. We're going back less than 10 years, right? 2015 episode of SmackDown. The Ascension attacked Neville as he was making his way to the ring against Stardust, aligning themselves with Stardust in the process of forming the group known as the Cosmic Wasteland, where Stardust calls the Ascension his henchmen. At Night of Champions, Stardust and the Ascension defeated Neville and the Lucha Dragons in a 6-man tag team match in the pre-show, but they were subsequently defeated in 2 rematches. On the Survivor Series kickoff, the Cosmic Wasteland, The Miz, and Bo Dallas were defeated by the Dudley Boys, Neville, Goldust, and Titus O'Neil in a 5-on-5 traditional Survivor Series elimination tag team match. I'm just saying they didn't put a lot of stock into this one.
No, this maybe should be forgotten, I think, forever. But I laugh because it's like, like people keep Folgers cans like full of like random nuts and bolts and shit that you just collect over time in your garage. Everybody has a drawer. I collect wrestling memories like that, and this was just sitting in my Folgers can in my head. And then when I read it, when I was trying to get ideas for this topic, I was like, "Fucking, that's right." It was just sitting dormant in my brain, and I remember. There's a picture where the Ascension's on either side of Cody, and he was doing a promo, like a tape thing, and like he was talking in the middle, and it was dark behind them, and all that stuff. And I'm like, "Fuck!" Like I just have this worthless thing in my Folgers can in my brain.
Neville! How resourceful our hero and your perfectly trained dragons. Well, I challenge you. See, I have thunder and lightning. This astral cabal, quite frightening. It's the perfect storm, and we are going to rain all over your parade.
That's just incredibly amazing to me. This one, though, I never forgot. This last one, never forgot about it. I thought it was amazing, but I am a homer for Kurt Angle, so let's just jump right in. This is Team Angle in the WWE. It was formed in late 2002 by Paul Heyman. He represented Kurt Angle at the time and awarded him the tag team of Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin. We were just talking about him on Unscripted just a few minutes ago, who's also on fire at 49 years old, tearing up AEW and causing major waves now. The group was named Team Angle, as well as the tag team of Charlie and Shelton. On February 6th, Shelton and Charlie won the WWE Tag Team Championships by defeating Los Guerreros. At the same time, Kurt Angle was the WWE champion on a collision course with Brock Lesnar, and would lose that title at WrestleMania 19. Is that right? 19?
Yes, yeah. 19.
Brutal match there. After a successful title defense at WrestleMania 19, they would eventually lose to the tag team titles to Eddie and Tajiri at Judgment Day, because that makes sense, Vince. Thank you for that. Shortly afterwards, June 12th, Angle confronted Benjamin and Haas about the losing streak they had for a couple weeks. After they blamed him for losing the championships and began to question his leadership, he fired them both from Team Angle. I thought for the short amount of time they had here, this was a very dominant faction, putting all the gold on them. I really enjoyed Team Angle while this was happening. It was so much fun. They were fantastic.
Yeah, it was good. I think a lot of people, because it was their tag team name as well, but they were also, Angle's faction was kind of called Team Angle. And I want to say Angle in TNA tried to form Team Angle as well. I don't remember who it was with, but I know that they've used that name somewhere else.
If I may, I want to let you know something. It is true, Kurt Angle. Brock Lesnar will never have the opportunity to do this to you again because I have what they call a contingency plan. And this contingency plan, Kurt Angle, this concept is called Team Angle.
Team Angle.
So this is Paul Heyman's contingency plan? What does all this mean?
Yeah, this was one of my favorite factions because it's Angle.
And they all dressed like Angle, which made me laugh. It was
Yeah, they did. They all had.
And I forgot that Paul Heyman gave them to Angle. Like, that was part of the thing. I forgot that Paul Heyman had a part in it, too.
Yeah. How far removed was Angle from leaving at this point? From 2002 to now? What he left like just a few years later, right?
I think I think he left at like 2005.
Yeah, it's really close. Like, it wasn't
5 or
it was
6,
that
actually,
far
probably more
removed.
closer to 6, because I know that he was going to go, when they started ECW as a brand, he was part of ECW. So I want to say it's 06, because it was after.
They were going to strap some gold to him there, too. And
yeah, he left it.
ECW feels kind of, the ECW rebrand was kind of cursed with Angle, and then with Benoit, it was,
yeah, there was two big names that were no longer for different reasons, like there.
Right. Yeah. But again, this was a faction that, at least for me personally, I never forgot. I thought it was great. Loved it. And their tag team work, I think, is, we didn't really talk about it here, but it was kind of, you kind of underestimate how good they were together.
Yeah, because in the middle of it, too, they also changed their name to the World's Greatest Tag Team.
That's right. They did. Yeah. They did, the World's Greatest Tag Team. And they were kind of for a while.
They were fantastic, actually.
Yeah, they were great together. But I would say that Shelton definitely outshined Haas in the athletic ability category, which is why Shelton started to climb the ranks in all the TLC matches and things like that, quite frankly, Haas couldn't really do as well. You watch Shelton climb up a ladder that's barely hanging onto a rope somewhere and, double barreling it into a crowd of people. Or, I mean, Shelton's just, like I said, I don't know how he's not more over than he is today. He's one of the most talented wrestlers out there you can think of. And he was just a small part of that faction of Team Angle. And it was a lot of fun to watch those guys go. So
yeah.
Craig, what do you got to add, buddy? Sorry, I feel like we're leaving you out over here.
No, all good. I mean, yeah, you can't forget Team Angle and that Kurt Angle sparing those guys. And it ended quick. It ended very quickly. Like Angle left, and then it was kind of done. But Shelton, and we talked about it before, like Shelton is back, 49 years old, wrestling in AEW last weekend. So, and I think Charlie had also, he had a heavyweight belt as of 2 years ago. Like, they're okay. It's all good.
Did he really? I didn't know that. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I love it. That's good stuff.
We barely scratched the surface. I know you got to end it, but we barely scratched the surface on the spoiler. So maybe we'll get to him next time.
For Shelton or what do you
no,
mean?
the spoiler for Legion of Doom.
Oh my!
I'm not gonna let him go.
Oh my god!
I'm just gonna have his picture over this entire episode.
I was gonna ask Craig, like, how old is Paul Ellering now? Is he like 100 or still going out there? With carrying cross and all that.
No, he's dead. He's dead.
He's not. No.
Oh, what?
He passed away.
No, he didn't. That's not true.
No, he
didn't.
Say that. Fair enough.
Don't say those things. That's awful. Literally saw him like a month ago, maybe sooner. For audio fans, give us a listen on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, and iHeartRadio, or watch our videos on YouTube at Our Wrestling Channel, and check out exclusive content on Daily Motion at Our Wrestling Podcast, and on social media. Can you really upset Jess and follow us on Instagram at O.W.P 2019 or on Facebook at Our Wrestling Podcast? For Jess, Craig, and myself, this is the O.W.P signing off. Have a good one.